Alright, so welcome to a new Making Sounds episode. This is the number 4, and of course it's about POLY D. This is how it works. First I show you the final result, then we break it down step by step, and we finish the patch with some effects. You can go to the links at the description and download the patch sheet if you want. Now if you like all this, please let me know down in the comments and make sure you like and subscribe. And if you have the money and you want to buy me a coffee, you can go to the links at the description. Okay, so let's break it down. So this is a duophonic type of sound, so we can play 2 keys at a time. So you need to connect this through USB and make sure that the multi-trigger is on because we are going to use it. Right, so make sure that you stand on uni and not on poly and not on mono, standing on uni. So when we do this, when I play a key, it's going to be playing all, but if I play one key and then I play a new key, notice that it's just playing the ones at the bottom. So we need to split the first 2 oscillators on one hand and the other one is going to be on the other hand. That's what we want to do. So I want to turn all the oscillators on. We are going to be using them. Now this one is going to be the low keys. So I'm going to keep it on a saw, and right here the range, I'm going to make it 8. And all of this is just completely up to you. This is going to be the higher keys. Now, I'm going to be doing a different shape. Maybe I'm going to go to, a narrow pulse. And maybe this one's, we are going to make it 4. So I'm going to cut off a little bit of frequency so I can show how this works. So if I play a key, maybe that was too much. All the keys are just playing because I'm playing just with one hand. But as soon as I play another one, notice that the first and the second one are playing the higher keys. So with this, we can just, and I know that with this hand, I'm going to be playing the oscillator 1 and 2, and this one is going to keep playing the 3 and the 4. So that's the plan, right? That's the plan. Now we need to take care first of the envelopes and, everything else. So filter mode is going to be all the way down. Now the filter modulation, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to keep the keyboard control on, and this one is going to be off. Now in terms of the decay, I want them to decay. Now let me just maybe go to the loudness control all the way down to the attack. The decay, I'm going to keep it below the 200s. Then sustain, I'm going to go all the way up. Now I want to do some kind of frequencies because right now it's going to be too harsh, but still, we're going to manage it with that envelope, with the filter envelope. So maybe staying right there on -3, I'm going to be doing a little bit of resonance. I'm going to stay on -2, and this one, maybe, let's say that we're going to do 4. Now let's see how it sounds. I'm going to go all the way down on the attack, but I do want some decaying, so I'm going to go right there at 50%, and the sustain, I'm going to stay at 4. So that's going to be the whole patch. Now, the trick right here is that we use both hands. I'm going to be maybe playing a low key, and now it's just playing on all the 4 oscillators, but then as soon as I play something right here at the top, it's going to be the higher pitched oscillators. And this is going to sound a lot cooler when we add effects. Alright, so that's the vibe. Now again, let's do some effects. Alright, so right from the start, I feel like it sounds cool, but it sounds a little bit weak, so I'm going to be bringing a little bit of saturation. Right now, everything is at 50%. Of course, it's maybe a little bit too much. So I will go to 50%, let's say, on the output and the gain. And as soon as I play it and turn it on, it's just going to giving me something else. Now the treble, I'm going to go bring it up. Now the output, I'm going to, again, keep it right there. And let's see how it sounds with a little bit more gain. That's just too much. I'm going to bring it down and almost there. Maybe the output a little bit more. And if I play it again. Right, so again, we are just compressing and adding a little bit of character, that's all. So I'm going to turn on. Now a little bit more treble. Right, so that's fine. Now I want to make it wider, and as you could assume, since I've been using it the whole series, it's going to be the chorus ensemble. And there are a lot of maybe better courses for synths, but this is a classic one, and it's just going to get the job done. So rate 50%, maybe depth, right? A little bit more than 50%, and I'm not cutting anything right here. And the level's all the way down because this is stereo. So I'm going to be turning this on, and it's just going to make it super wide. Alright, so on the delay, I'm gonna go to the analog section, and I guess I'm gonna be using one of my favorites. I'm gonna be using the red one. Now, the red one is an emulation, it's just the Empress. This is the manufacturer version of Memory Man. So on the repetitions, we can add vibrato with the thing 1, and with the thing 2, we can add a little bit of chorused repetitions. So if I turn it on right now, it's gonna sound like some lag, and you can hear that modulation on the repetitions. Maybe it's just a little bit too aggressive. I'm gonna go a little bit down on the thing 1 and the thing 2. Right. I don't have a very specific BPM, so I guess I'm gonna be locking it to 120 BPM. So this is gonna be 120 BPM, so I'm gonna be locking it, and remember, maybe I'm gonna stand right here so we can see it. So it's right. So, it's just almost there. And it's just going to give us what we want. Now, in this case, I'm going to leave it on quarter notes, but the feedback, I'm going to do a little bit less because right now it's just way, too much. It's way in your face. So if I play it, just the way we did before, it's just a completely different thing, right? So the delay is just a big part of this sound, because when I play the higher keys, we just hear the repetitions in the higher frequency. Right, so pretty cool. Now, the next thing is going to be the reverb. So just to glue everything, I'm going to use a Hall reverb, and this pedal, the types, the different algorithms, they have maybe two options. The size is arena, or it's going to be concert. Concert is a lot less. I'm going to go mix all the way up so we can hear it. And I'm going to turn it on. That's the concert. And if I go to the other one, the arena is just, bigger. So I want a long sound, so I'm going to leave it on arena, and I'm going to bring down the mix. And on the decay, we can maybe go crazy. Why not? This is a very long sound, so I'm going to maybe do it 3 seconds, maybe too much, 2.5 seconds. That's going to be cool for the decay. Now the tone, I'm going to leave it at 50%, and the modulation is the amount of modulation we do to the reverb. I'm not going to use it because we are doing a lot of modulation, with the delay. Okay, so without effects, I'm going to turn them all off. And on. Okay, so that's going to be my final patch for this one. And the reverb and the delay are just doing all the heavy lifting right here. Now remember, you can download the patch sheet from the links in the description. Right, so let's break it down. We have the default sound, and first, you need to make sure that we are mono. So we're going to use two oscillators. The first one is on, and the second one will be on. Now we get 2. Now the first, it's going to be on 8 range, and this one is going to be lower or higher, depends on what you want to do. I'm going to make it higher, so it's going to be 8 and 4. Right, now then the waveform is completely up to you. I'm going to use a pulse, and not the narrowest pulse. I'm going to be using that. Now, later, we're going to use the oscillator 4 to do a filter modulation right here. So you know what? I'm going to do it now. I'm going to turn the filter modulation on, and we need to use this as a modulator. I'm going to stand on 16s, and I'm going to keep the control oscillator on, because when we play the sequence, this is going to be following whatever is that we do on the filter modulation, and it's just going to make it sound a little bit more aggressive. Still, of course, all of this needs to be off because it's going to be a modulator. I'm going to stay on the saw, on the ramp up in this case, and for now, I'm just going to keep it in tune. Since we want to do modulation with this one, we need to prepare the modulation mix. It's going to go all the way down to the filter oscillator, to the oscillator 4, and this switch needs to stand on oscillator 4. Okay, so with the envelopes, again, this one is going to be on, stay on low, and on the keyboard control, I'm going to turn this one on. I always like this one. This one, it's fine, but I like this one the most. And decay, it's going to be on. Now, in terms of the envelopes, the attack is going to be all the way down. The decay is going to be very short, almost 10 or a little bit less than 10. Again, all of this is, again, up to you. I'm going to keep it around 10. Now, the sustain in this case is going to be all the way up. And now we need to do a little bit of cutoff. So I'm going to be moving the cutoff frequencies around the -2. And I'm going to do a little bit of resonance. Now, of course, nothing is going to happen. We need to provide some amount of contour. This is around -3. And maybe we can do a little bit less in betweens. Now, the amount of contour, I'm going to keep it on 50%, but we need to do the envelope if you want something to happen. I'm going to keep it below the 200s, and the sustain is going to be 2 or maybe below 2. Now, if I play something, it's going to sound like that. Now, also what I want a little bit of overload. So this cable is connected to phones. Phones is on volume 50. And this cable is going all the way in to the external signal in right there at the back. So when I turn this on, we are going to be overloading when we go up in volume. If you go too much, it's gonna do that. So I'm going to keep it on 50%. And this is going to give you more meat, right? So that's, what I want. Maybe a little bit less than 50. Now, remember, we are doing filter modulation, and we have the oscillator 4 kind of prepared to do some filter modulation. So if I play something, it's going to sound like that. Now, when we go up, since we are doing filter modulation, we are using the oscillator number 4. It's going to sound a lot more aggressive. You can maybe put it at 50% if you wanted to. And it's still going to sound aggressive. Now, the trick right here is that you need to maybe change the range, and this is going to change how it sounds. Also, changing the waveform is going to make it sound different. And if you want a more atonal type of sound, changing the pitch is going to do the trick. Still, I want to leave it right there, kind of in tune. There we go. So that's the sound. If I go down, we get something more normal. And if we want more aggressive, we're going to be getting it. All right, so I have a sequence right here. I'm going to go down in volume. If not, it's just going to be a little bit too loud, even for me. So this is the sequence. Right, it's a nice sequence. If I go down, it's going to be a little bit more normal. So right here, you need to handle whatever it is that you want to do with the envelopes. Maybe you want to shorter, kind of a plucky type of sound. Maybe going down and the decay is going to do that. Again, same with the sustain. And the decay of the loudness control is almost all the way down. Is below 10 or 10-ish. So on this one, we could do the same. Put it on 10, and it's just going to give you that. And if you, at some point, if you want the sound to evolve, you just can go up on the decay and just make it, super wide. I'm going to keep it at 10 for now. Now, what happens when I go right here at the top? We get that sound, and I love it. Without the overload, just not the same thing. Right? Okay, so I believe now it's time, let me just go down in volume. It's time to do the effects. Right, so on the effects section, I'm going to be using 3 different effects. I'm going to be using a flanger just to make it wider, and I'm going to be using a little bit of delay and a little bit of reverb just to, add a little bit more depth. All right, so that's the sequence. Now I'm going to be doing on this, and as soon as I turn it on, it's just going to give you something else. So now we need to manage the control. I'm gonna go delay time. Notice that it's not really affecting it too much. But still, we need to do a little bit of speed. And the depth, I'm gonna keep it around 50%. And the feedback around 50%. Maybe a little bit of delay time. And already it's giving you that, that movement and whiteness that you need. It's giving you something else. And I like it. Right, so let's do a little bit of delay. Now the sequence is playing at 100 BPMs. So I'm just going to be locking that to the delay. And on this one, I'm going to be using pretty much the same thing that we did before. The analog and the red color right here is going to be a memory man. So we get the vibrato and then we get a chorus type of, repetitions. So for the thing one, I'm going to keep it maybe, you know what? I'm not going to do a lot. I'm going to do maybe a little bit less, maybe 50% or something like that. The tone, I'm going to keep it right there in the center, but the feedback, maybe I'm going to do a little bit more. Now the mix, I'm going to bring it down because if not, it's just going to be a little bit too much. So if I play it now, it's going to sound like that. And if I turn this on, it's just super slow. And it's because we are on quarter notes, I'm going to be going to maybe 8 notes and see how it sounds. Still, a little bit better. Alright, so it's fine. It's giving us that extra layer that we want at the back. Maybe the mix is too much. I'm gonna go down. If I turn it off, we can feel that it's just way too dry. Maybe I'm gonna go up on the thing 1 and the thing 2 just a tiny little bit. And if we go up on the feedback, just too much. I'm gonna go down right there. Right. So it's fine, but still, I feel like we need a little bit of reverb. Now for the reverb, I'm going to be using a plate. I'm going to turn off the delay. And right here, I'm going to turn off the reverb. And it's going to... just going to sound like that. Maybe the mix is way too much. I'm going to go down in the mix around a little bit less than 50 or maybe 50. Let's see what happens. Alright, so again, it's cool. The decay, I'm going to keep it around the 2 seconds. Maybe we can, go shorter, maybe around 1.5. And then we can take it from there. The modulated, I want to go down because we are doing it with the pedal, with the delay. And everything else is just going to stay pretty much the same. Maybe I want a bit more. I want a plate, a snappy plate. So I'm going to bring the tone up. So the tone, if you don't know this pedal, is like... If I go all the way up, we get more high frequencies, and this is going to high pass them tone all the way up. And if I go down, it's just going to make it darker, right? So maybe I'm going to stand right here. Now, if I bring the mix around 50 or maybe a little bit less, it's going to sound cool. And if I bring the delay... Right? So, it sounds cool. Okay, so I'm going to play the sequence and see what's going on. But this is the sequence with everything on. If I turn it off, I'm going to turn off this one, and this one. Just to dry, right? I would love to have an EQ. Maybe I don't have it right now. Just to, EQ a little bit more the final patch or just at the beginning. Now, if I go up on the mod wheel, we get that, and it sounds cool, really aggressive. Alright, so that's going to be my final patch. Pretty simple patch, and then we get the aggressive side when we go to the mod wheel. Okay, so that's it. So hopefully you liked all of this. Now let me know down in the comments if you want more of this. If not, why keep on doing it? Still, remember to like and subscribe, and if you have the money and you just maybe want to buy me a coffee just to say thanks, you can go to the links at the description. You have links for PayPal, you have YouTube thanks, and you have Patreon. Maybe you can be a 1-month patron. Alright, so see you on the next one.